Well, Heidi fucking ho. It's me, Dana DiLorenzo, a.k.a. Kelly Maxwell from Ash vs. Evil Dead. It is fucking me. There, I'll drop some F-bombs, then you know. Ghost beat her fucking fist bump, dude. Ashy Slashy, God, I miss him. I miss the little adorable puppet. The other little fucking teethed one can go suck a puppet dick. I don't know. Never thought I would say that I miss being covered in blood and guts and demon shit. I really never saw that coming. And it's not that I didn't, that you don't like it when it's happening, because you know it's going to look cool and you're like, fuck yeah. But like, it dries. Like the blood dries. It's not sticky. It dries in 5 seconds. And so if you're wearing a lace top where it gets everywhere in every orifice, or the blood goes on and then it dries and your hair's stuck, then when you go to like move your hair, it's like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe that was just our specific blood, but like, I remember there were some days where you're like, I just like want to not have a day with my hair hanging off my shirt like Michael Jackson's military jacket, you know what I mean? But I knew and I loved it when it was happening. Now, this is how I'm like, I just want somebody throw blood on me. You know what I mean? You miss it. It's like immediately, right? Although I did always really love when like there's not enough showers that you could take to get the blood off on a really bloody day. Like, and you have to use shaving cream, Barbasol specifically. It's a really interesting process because it lifts. Apparently, I never knew that's what shaving cream did. Lifts the hair, so it lifts the dry blood, right? The fake blood. But like I always miss a spot, and then you're out to eat, and you're like, put your hair up for a second, and people look at you because it looks like real blood. Bruce Campbell's incredible. I can't say enough about the guy. He's exactly as you hope he would be, or expect him to be, only even better. And I did have one little piece of advice: don't go out there. Just don't fucking do it.
In a world where zombies, ghosts, serial killers, and vampires all exist, it's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Dustin, and they are all that stand between you and the films that could end the world. Welcome to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast. Just want to thank all of our fans and listeners. Really appreciate the support. You guys are awesome. Before we get into tonight's film review, just want to give a quick shout out to our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Everything about our podcast is on the website. All of our episodes and interviews, if you want to check those out. We've done some incredible interviews in the past. Go check them out there in a specific tab by themselves so you don't have to scroll through hundreds of episodes on Apple or Spotify, etc. We also have our store if you want to grab a shirt, a mouse pad, a hat, all that good stuff. We'd love to see your pictures, rep your favorite podcast. And Shan's Etsy page is also attached if you want to grab a tumbler. All of our social media links are on there as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Like us, subscribe us, follow us, all that good stuff. And the last thing I want to shout out on our website is our Patreon. We call it Blood Donors. We have the traditional monthly reoccurring kind. If you want to support us, help us pay the bills, as we say. Or if there's a movie you want us to review, that option is available as well. Just check out our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Also, if you haven't noticed, we've recently joined the Believe Network. So there's some ads on our program now. But if you want ad-free content, go check us out on Blood Donors. The ad-free episodes will be available there. We appreciate your support. We hope you enjoy the episode. All right, guys, jumping to the film review. This week is my pick. This is a free month, and I just used this time to choose Evil Dead from 2013. This is a movie that I had not seen until Evil Dead Rise came out last year. I really wasn't too familiar with the Evil Dead franchise, to be honest with you. I had seen online and Facebook groups that this was a really good remake, but I also heard from my fellow co-host Brian, he hated this movie. And didn't you say your wife fell asleep during the theatrical watch?
Oh yeah. Wow.
Anywho, I do enjoy this movie. I like this one and Evil Dead Rise. They're pretty close. I do narrowly pick this one slightly over Evil Dead Rise, but they're both great. But one of the main reasons I chose this movie for this month is because Alien Romulus is coming out, another Fede Alvarez movie. And he is literally the only reason that I am going to go see that movie when it comes out in a few weeks. I like Fede Alvarez's movies, this one and Don't Breathe. I think he's proven he knows how to take on a franchise and make it and breathe life into it. So I have that hopeful. And it has Kaylee Spaney. I thought she did a great job in Civil War. I'm excited to see her in Alien as well. But for just this movie, love Jane Levy. I think she's great. Dustin mentioned it in our group chat a while back. Would love to have her on the show, interview her. I would love to meet her at a con one day. I think she's great in this and Don't Breathe. This is an Evil Dead movie. It's gory, it's bloody, it's fun. It's not perfect. Definitely have some nitpicks with it. But I think this is a movie you could pop on anytime, hour and a half, have some good, gory, bloody fun.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned it a little bit, but I've got such a weird relationship with this movie. To be fair, I give Mike a lot of shit on here for changing his mind so much, which is honestly me just messing with him because we all do it for various reasons. But I actually told him I was going to go on here and say I never change my mind, but it's in 4K. So, but the movie right here, I think, is one that I've definitely done a complete 180 on. I've mentioned before, Nico brought it up. I'll say it again. I've given the Evil Dead franchise tons of chances, but the original three, I just don't like them at all whatsoever. Now, because I try to pride myself on franchises being able to redeem themselves sometimes, and the overall, decent track record on me liking the early 2000s remakes. I mean, they did go on a tear with those. I took my wife to see this in the movie theater on our first date. I don't know why, but like I said, or like you said, I hated it. I loathed it. And I guess many different factors caused that. She fell asleep, like you mentioned. I was probably tired as hell too. It was a super late. It was like a 9:45 movie or something like that. But, I badmouthed it forever, until we did Evil Dead Rise, and I loved it. And then it was Nico that convinced me to give this one another shot. And I pretty much texted immediately, and I was like, yeah, I was wrong on that one. I mean, now I know that there's some back and forth about, is this a requel? Is this a complete remake? There's, I think, evidence to support the requel theory, especially the post-credit scene thing. But, I'm pretty sure that they left it ambiguous on purpose, if I read that correctly. But personally, I don't really care in that regard because I hate the first three. So I'm perfectly fine with it just being the start of a new timeline, and with this and Rise and whatever else comes out next. So kind of like Halloween. Now, you get to pick your own timeline. I said all that to say that I really do like it.
Yeah, this is a movie that I thought was okay the first time I saw it. Watched it again and thought that it was better. I was like, okay, I like it even more. Watched Evil Dead Rise. That was my favorite Evil Dead movie.
Yeah.
And then I rewatched this one again to do these notes. And I think I like this one the most in the franchise. It's right there with Rise for me. It's neck and neck for different reasons. They both feel completely different, have different settings and everything. But I really like this movie. The gore is great. Some of the blood doesn't look very good, which I've got in my notes, but the gore overall is good, and the kills are creative. The action, the pacing is very good, and there's enough nods to the past and the movies that came before it without it becoming cheesy and overdone, which I appreciate a lot. So yeah, I think this is a really good movie.
It's worth noting that I think that we all three watched the theatrical cut on Max for this,
yes,
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
The extended cut, I think, is only 6 minutes longer, but I do try every scene here to kind of break down the differences as we go.
Okay.
Something I just noticed, though, is back-to-back months for my picks, I picked remakes, and all three of us liked them. So, remakes, fast forward in time, sequels, whatever you want to call this one, rebooting of a franchise, etc. And we all three liked it. So,
what was your last one? I really don't remember.
The Hills Have Eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, a lot of these remakes that did happen in the early 2000s, honestly, I think all needed to be remade besides Nightmare on Elm Street. But, I mean, as blasphemous as it sounds to most horror fans, I like almost all of the remakes that came out in the early 2000s.
Do you consider 2013 the early 2000s?
Yeah, but I just I think it's still in that remake genre, where they were just pumping them out.
Oh, they're still doing that. All
right.
right.
I mean, The Stepfather came out in 2009, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street was 2010. So, it was all in that, 15-year gap, I would say. And I agree. Yeah. I like a lot of the remakes.
Me too.
For sure. The unfortunate thing about this episode is that I'm doing the scene by scene. So do you guys have any other opening thoughts before I jump into it?
Let's do it.
Say it on 3. Lord, bear me strength. We open with the sound of some flies buzzing and some opening credits before cutting to the woods where a girl is stumbling about dripping blood. A man flashes behind her, and then she sees another man watching her. She hides behind a tree before one of the guys knapsacks her, and the other conks her in the head with the butt of his rifle. We cut to a nasty dungeon where the girl is shackled to a beam, pleading not to be hurt, and an older woman in the room speaks in Welsh among the bloody, disgusting mess around her. A man takes the sack off the girl's head, and dun, 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 it's her dear old daddy. She asks him why, and he says the people are there to help, and Mommy is dead. She killed her. What the fuck's going on? The girl pleads in confusion, and Daddy douses her with gasoline, and before he can get his match lit, the girl says she will rip his soul out and then transforms to the evil. He gets her lit and blows her fucking head off with a shotgun. Title card. On the other side of the title card, we get a cool inverted aerial view of some woods and a Jeep driving along the road, which I know Brian loved. The Jeep arrives at a cabin, which is a great recreation of the original setting, and a group of college-age kids get introduced to us. And David promises his sister Mia he's there for the long haul. Mia dumps some powder down a well and promises to go cold turkey. And then they go inside the rundown stinky cabin and get settled in. We find out David wasn't there for the passing of their mom, adding the layer of him being a distant brother. Later, Olivia tells David Mia has tried this dramatic sobriety angle before, but it didn't last. Later that night, Mia is going through some brutal withdrawals and says she can't stand the smell anymore, but no one else smells it. You goddamn farts. Oh, sorry, I added that part in. David finds a trap door under a rug on the floor that's covered in blood, and when he opens it, we hear some flies buzzing, and they all smell it now. Down the stairs, they find a room that's full of dead, strung-up cats and see some evidence of something being burned down there, and we see a mysterious book on the table. That's the opening scenes. What'd you guys think?
All right. Well, Nico, you brought him up. I want to talk a little bit about Fede Alvarez on here. I think I'm mixed on him. You brought up Don't Breathe, and I think I rated that just as high as you did. I think we both gave it 8s, if I remember looking it up correctly. But he also did that awful, fucking god-awful 22 Texas Chainsaw movie. So I'm kind of mixed on him, I think. I never saw The Girl in the Spider's Web. I heard that was pretty good, but I haven't seen it. And Alien Romulus, I think, may be, like you said, the tiebreaker on him. So we'll see. But I do think that he did a tremendous job on this. This is definitely my favorite of his so far. Now, the cold open, though, fucking badass. Probably, like Evil Dead Rise, my favorite part of the movie, to be honest. I love the fake out they do with the little girl, playing on your heartstrings. It's so damn well done. FYI, that gasoline they poured on her was actually apple juice. But Phoenix Connolly, I think, does a great job portraying the girl. She looks so much like a young Chloe Grace Moretz. That's who I thought it was at first. The effects, I think, are just also so damn good. Alvarez wanted to go with practical effects. And, you know, that's kind of a running theme on this show, I've noticed, when directors and studios decide to go that practical route or at least a mix of it, it always is the correct choice. Jason Dury was the special effects supervisor. He did 30 Days of Night as well. George Ritchie, the visual effects supervisor, he worked on 30 Days of Night as well. But just the whole makeup department too. Just perfect work throughout. The rest of the set of scenes, I think it's just some character development until the very end. There was a great tracking shot at the open by Alvarez, very reminiscent of The Shining. In that shot. But it was also reminiscent in The Shining in the fact that it took 45 fucking minutes looking at the goddamn trees and following his fucking Jeep down the street. Just throwing that out there. I kid. Good to see Jane Levy back. Like her second appearance on the show after Don't Breathe. But to be honest, Shiloh Fernandez as David, to me, steals any of these scenes that they're in. He was in 2011's Red Riding Hood. Did any of y'all see that? Yeah, me neither. I don't know. That wasn't funny, but I think he's a really good actor, and it's much better than anyone else in this movie, to be honest. And I said I'd let you know the differences in the theatrical and extended NC-17 cut. There's an extra scene here in this set of scenes with Mia and David after she dumps the drugs. Eric follows her, and the other three kind of stay behind to talk about Mia, rehab, and the following 3 days and kind of what to expect. There's also a jump scare with David and a cat here. I know Nico wishes that was still around, loves jump scares. Nothing big, but great group of scenes.
Evil Dead 2013 has such a good opening scene. It's one that I kind of wish I didn't leave off of my top 10 openings we did a while back. Same with Evil Dead Rise. Honestly, they both have really good opening scenes. But my favorite aspect of it is the swerve job. You feel for this captured girl at first until you realize she's possessed by a Deadeye. I really like that swerve job. Like you mentioned, Brian, Phoenix Connolly, she does an incredible job of emotional acting, begging for her life. And I love the look of her eyes when we cut to them after Dad lights the matches. I think it's just a damn fine opening scene. It's a cool title card, but I hate to keep comparing it, but it's not quite as cool as Evil Dead Rise, with beautiful shots of the group driving to the cabin. And you know I had to take a shot at you, Brian, and I know you're loving these nature shots.
Yeah.
Eric, played by Lou Taylor Poochie, is a DGOT alum from the series pod, American Horror Story 1984. My man was hitchhiking for years and years and years to come. We meet Jane Levy as Mia. Mia can be seen wearing a Michigan State sweatshirt. In the original version, the main character also wears a Michigan State sweatshirt in the opening scene. This is also homage to original series director Sam Raimi, who is from Michigan. That's a nice touch that I appreciate, and it's really subtle. And I got to keep it 100. I know they're at this cabin for reasons, but this place is a dump. Go find somewhere nicer to help Mia out. And this is another cool fun fact. If you take the first letter from our cast members' names, David, Eric, Mia, Olivia, and Natalie, it spells out demon. That's a nice, evil little fun fact, which I like. I might be nitpicky here, but this interaction between Mia and David, it seems a bit too heavy for an Evil Dead movie. It's a known franchise for its over-the-top goofiness, and I do appreciate this one's not fully like that. But we already have Mia overcoming a heroin addiction. Do we need a sick mom dying and guilting the brother for not showing up storyline as well? I mean, it kind of plays at the end, but a little too heavy, maybe. To me, it was. But it does flesh out their characters, and it gives some relatability, I reckon. But you already saw this in like 2009, Friday the 13th, kind of. I don't know. I could have done without it. This whole crew goes full white people in horror checking out the hidden basement. It's fun, though. I'm invested.
All right. David gets back upstairs and tells the group not to get crazy, and he'll bury the dead cats later. Mia tells Eric he shouldn't have touched anything from the basement, and we see the Necronomicon on the table next to his shotgun. The next day, Mia and Natalie are in the kitchen, and we see Mia walking in circles outside in the rain. As Eric sits at a table, we hear faint whispers, and he's staring at the book. Like a dummy, he cuts the barbed wire off the book and rips the trash bag it's wrapped in. Like an even bigger dummy, he starts flipping through the pages, reading phrases aloud, ignoring the warnings to leave the damn book alone. His fate was sealed when he cut his finger and dropped blood on the pages. He traces over some inscribed words and says them out loud, and we get some cool shots of something rapidly advancing through the woods. A quick cut to an evil face gives us a good scare, and Mia pukes outside, begging God for a break. Instead, she gets a woman in the distance and looking at her and hears her name being whispered. She goes inside and says she has to leave right now. The group tells her she's not fucking leaving, like Jordan Belfort, except only she is. She sneaks out a window and takes off in a car. She doesn't make it far, however, as she struggles with the rain and the windshield wipers, classic, and she sees a woman she saw earlier in the middle of the road, causing her to swerve off the path and wreck into a creek. When she comes to, she swims ashore, and we get cuts to the evil rushing through the woods towards her, and hear David and Olivia calling for her before the evil woman rises from the water and scares her shitless. She tries to run away, but she trips, and the forestation starts grabbing at her and choking her. As she's strung up, the evil woman appears in front of her, and we see that it's an evil version of Mia herself. Evil Mia pukes up some evil vines, which travels towards Mia and goes straight up her cooter cat, understandably making her scream. What'd you guys think?
This opening ASMR shit with the electric knife thing going on here. Listen, first off, Natalie, I don't know if you're used to eating meat from your time on Vampire Diaries, but I got news for you. That shit is raw as fuck. So just throwing that out there, I would not eat that. But what I like most about this movie is it's not fucking around. Like, it jumps almost right into the shit with these cats. I mean, there's no fucking around at all. Props to everyone who worked on this script, mostly Alvarez, though. The script is tight. It's tight as hell. There's not a lot of waste at all. And honestly, going through the withdrawals being kind of a cover-up for the demon possession, once, dumb fuck Eric reads the words, it's a pretty brilliant way for everyone else to just kind of blow it off until it gets too late. I thought that was great writing. A little Easter egg. When Eric is first reading through the Necronomicon as well, there's a picture of a severed hand flipping the bird. So definitely a clear reference to Evil Dead 2, where that basically happens to Ash, and then the hand flips him off when he's trying to shoot it. So fucking stupid. But anyway, the scene with the official possession, I guess you could say of Mia with the Jason Goes to Hell looking demon goo shit going up her dress. Definitely a callback to what happened in the OG, which we reviewed on don'tgooutthere.com. But I think it was much, much better done here. And with it being canon now, according to Jason Goes to Hell director Adam Marcus, that Jason is a Deadite. And now in this one, we have basically that same demon slug thing doing what it did to Diana in that movie in Jason Goes to Hell with crawling up her, what did you so eloquently call it?
Cooter cat.
Cooter cat. I'm thinking that's just doubled down here. So just saying, Adam Marcus interview, don'tgooutthere.com. Last thing, I'll just say the differences in the extended cut here. It just shows more pages of the book with Eric flipping through it for another probably 3 seconds. So that's it for this one. Nothing good.
All right, I'm just going to piggyback off my last statement. A cellar full of dead cats. Yeah, that's not weird at all. Let's stay here. More white people shenanigans. Eric, if a book is wrapped in barbed wire and covered in plastic, it might mean that it's not meant to be opened, brother. And he also has no issues reading the demonic language, but will conveniently ignore the leave this book alone message. Eric, he catches a lot of hell online, rightfully so. But we don't have a damn movie without him, so what do? Intense moment with Mia and the others, and great line she tells David, well, fuck you very much. But fellas, the group does a terrible job of not keeping tabs on her. She got away hella easy, didn't she? Mia is incredibly lucky that car didn't drive all the way under the water. And she got out pretty unscathed, lucky girl. Props to Fede Alvarez and cinematographer Aaron Morton. I've really liked the shots following Mia up close, when she's outside walking in the rain, having her withdrawal symptoms, and the scenes of her running away. I thought great cinematography, great camera work. And the vine scene is super uncomfortable and gross, but hey, it's an Evil Dead movie, right? A demonic vine entering a woman via genitalia, or cooter cat, as Dustin so beautifully said. It's not even the top 10 craziest things we've ever seen on this show, and that just blows my mind. That's all I got. Go ahead, Dustin.
All right. Meanwhile, David and Olivia continue their game of Where's Mia, and David finally wins. They get Mia into the cabin, and Olivia dismisses their talk about an evil woman attacking her as withdrawal talk, and says they can't leave. David goes to talk to Mia, and a petrified Mia tells him they gotta skedaddle. There's something in the woods, and she thinks it's in there with them right now. He tells her it's all in her head and leaves her alone with the fucked up looking evil version of herself looking on. Eric continues in pursuit of a major in Necronomicon studies, and Olivia says knowledge isn't power. Get rid of it. Downstairs, David starts his new career as a dead cat remover extraordinaire, and outside he sees a trail of blood and searches for his dog, who he finds bloodied up under the shed. As he mourns, he sees a bloodied hammer on the shed floor, and we get a cutscene of Mia going to town on Grandpa with it. Grandpa's the dog, by the way. He goes inside to ask her about it, but Mia's busy standing under the shower head, fully clothed. She turns the water heat all the way up, and David bursts in to find her being boiled. He rushes her into the Jeep, and Eric says, perfect time to read another chapter. David's getaway plans are foiled by a flooded road, though, and he has to return to the cabin. As the rest of the group places blame and regroups, Mia slowly enters the room with a shotgun in tow. She shoots David in the shoulder, and then the door and the windows blast open, and a demon voice says, "You're all gonna die tonight," before Mia collapses. Olivia tries to grab the weapon, but Mia thwarts her efforts and pukes red Kool-Aid onto Olivia's face. Terrible looking blood. This is what I was talking about earlier. That blood looked awful. Way too red, way too, thin. Anyway, Olivia tosses Mia down the trap door, and Eric closes it to trap her below. Eric comes to the conclusion that maybe Mia's acting this way because of the witchcraft from the basement. Looks like all that studying might be paying off, buddy. In the bathroom, Olivia gets more tranquilizer for Mia, and when the medicine cabinet closes, we get an awesome look of the evil version of her in the mirror before it shatters, and the pages in the Necronomicon start turning themselves on the bedroom. Oh, and the bedroom door closes on its own. Olivia becomes possessed next, and she pissed down her leg. And I don't mean metaphorically. She literally pissed the most golden yellow urine I've ever seen down her legs. She definitely needs to drink more water. Eric, it was bad. Eric goes to check on Olivia and finds her cowered down in the shower, cutting through her cheeks. He backs away and slips on a piece of her flesh and hilariously falls back first into the toilet. He tries to crawl towards the door, but it closes on its own. Olivia stabs him in the chest with a glass shard from the mirror and then repeatedly in the face with the syringe. He tosses her off after banging her head on the sink and then the shower floor. She's subdued for now. But it's short-lived. She crawls towards him, and he has to bash her fucking skull in with the corner of the sink Olivia broke off with her head earlier. David and Natalie finally get their asses in there to see what all the commotion's about, and Eric says she tried to kill him. All right, what'd you guys think?
I don't have a whole lot on this set of scenes, but man, that shot with Mia seeing the demon crouched down in the mirror, just blood pouring out of her mouth. Holy shit, I thought that was a fantastic shot. She looked crazy scary as hell. And you know what? Well, I mean, we're a quarter into this movie, and we have a little girl burning alive in front of her father, and now a dog being beat to death with a hammer, man. Never mind what I said. Fuck this movie. But, man, woo, this shower/bathroom scene with Mia. Look, her skin peeling off, burning off, basically. Holy shit, what a fantastic effect. And when she surprises them in the living room and just pukes so much blood on Olivia, you're right. It did look a lot red, but it didn't bother me for some reason. That the blood in this movie did not bother me, even though there's an exorbitant amount of it. It just didn't bother me. Jessica Lucas, Olivia, by the way, from the fucking amazing Cloverfield. But I'll just throw this out there. Fuck you, Eric, because how do you see both of these things happening in that book to Mia and then not literally tell anybody? Just what an asshole. Regardless, I think everyone does a really good job here, especially Olivia, at acting freaked out after that entire scene with Mia and, then her own experience, obviously, in the bathroom. Great effects on that, by the way. Starting off with in the mirror to begin with, and then the way she just kind of stops mid-walk as she's taken over and pissing down her leg. And God, it was just so well done. And I wrote the same thing. Dustin said she needs to hydrate, though, because her piss was way too yellow.
Yes, she's not championship level hydration.
I got that in my notes. I swear to Christ.
But then back to the bathroom with Eric finding her. God damn, man. I mean, by far the most memorable scenes of this movie to me. Everything from those nasty ass effects with her cutting off her jawbone to Eric being stabbed repeatedly in the fucking eye with a syringe. Whew. And as far as the extended cut, no differences in the extended and theatrical cut in this set of scenes. Just what a fucking set of scenes, man.
Is it weird that whenever we see P, we think about Dustin? Fellow listeners, comment on our post when you listen to this.
Out of context, yes. But for context, I champion people's hydration levels. I have a chart that I've tweeted multiple times showing what color your piss should be. I'll tweet it again. So anyway, go ahead.
Absolutely. Respectfully, Olivia, I know you're a nurse, but she's not getting the same treatment as she would at a hospital. Just get her out of this place. But I did like how stern Olivia was with David. She's an addict. She will do whatever it takes to get her next hit. I appreciated that. Jane Levy needs to be praised for how good she makes a set of crazy eyes, whatever. I thought that was great. David is a better man than me. I would have left all those cat corpses in the cellar. I mean, you have no clue what kind of disease or parasites may be on those things now. And like you mentioned, Brian, I hated seeing the doggo grandpa bludgeon. And you're brave in a movie if you show dead animals. Like, you wasn't joking, Brian. Dead kid at the beginning, dead animals. Fede said, fuck it, we ball. I'm glad they recognize this isn't drug withdrawal at this point and are trying to get her help. Eric, the guy who caused all this, of course, is the negative Nancy of the group. The shot of the door flinging open as she screams is badass, and the voiceover, "You're all gonna die tonight." Thought that scene was top notch. And Eric finally reveals to the others about the witchcraft. Eric is such a frustrating character, and I tried to show reason to him, but he's just frustrating. The mirror closing on Olivia and showing her demonic face, I thought was a badass scene. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
And like we've all mentioned, Olivia, you need to increase that water intake. That urine running down your leg looked like straight melted butter. Dustin, show her the hydration chart, please. It's literally in my notes. A personal nitpick, but I can't stand the strobing, flashing lights in movies. I'm not, prone to seizures, but they're just not pleasant to watch for me. And holy fuck, great effects on Olivia's face wounds, and I am cringing seeing Eric get stabbed in the eye area over and over with that syringe needle. Ugh. And then my man goes full Adam on Zep from Saw with a piece of porcelain on her. Loved it.
All right. In the shed outside, for some reason, David pulls the glass out of Eric's chest and duct tapes a bandage over it. Not sure why they were outside. David sends Natalie inside to get some of Edgar from Men in Black's favorite beverage, sugar water.
Water.
And Eric tells David what he's been studying in the book. He released something evil when he recited a prayer. Back in the cabin, Natalie tries to fetch the sugar water when the trap door flings open and she hears Mia crying down below. Natalie sees Mia sitting at the bottom of the steps, crying, and foolishly decides to go down and console her. Mia's demonic voice says he's not going to let them leave. When Natalie tries to go back upstairs, the step breaks and then she's pulled down below. When Natalie comes to, she sees Mia crawling towards her through the shadows, and Mia starts licking her leg before chomping down on Natalie's hand. Mia grabs a box cutter and licks the blade, splitting her tongue in two. She said, "I'm a snake," and then starts making out with Olivia. David opens the cellar door, freeing Natalie, and then Mia offers him some sloppy demon toppy. The demon says Mia isn't there. She's being raped in hell, and David's heard enough. He closes the door, locking her back in the basement, and he secures the door by nailing a chain over it. Later, he sees Eric trying to burn the book, but it doesn't work. When it wouldn't burn, Eric and David have a quick study session, and Natalie patches herself up in the kitchen. Eric tells David if they want to help Mia, they have to kill her, and David says that doesn't work for him, brother. In the kitchen, Natalie's bite mark starts morphing, and the door slams shut behind her. The door opens back up. Don't know what the point of its shutting was then. And Mia looks on from the below the cellar door. Mia tells Natalie not to cut it off, and Natalie grabs an electric meat knife and starts to perform an amputation. The power cuts off, and Eric and David enter the kitchen just in time to see the bottom 2/3 of Natalie's left arm fall off. David duct tapes Natalie's nub. If you can't duck it, fuck it, man. And then Eric goes back to his studies. He says to rid the evil, the possessed have to be purified. Eric says he's not sure it'll work, but in his estimation, if Mia dies, whatever's inside her dies with her. He says he's going to burn the cabin down, but before he can, Natalie returns from her trip to Home Depot with a nail gun and starts shooting the place up. After firing several nails into her own face and into the boys, David finally tackles her after she almost emptied the clip on Eric. I have to believe he waited that long to let Eric get hit as many times as he did, as a way to get back at him for his mean words. David crawls towards the shotgun, but Natalie is back on her feet and wears him out with a crowbar. Eric tries to help by shooting her with the nail gun, but that only pisses her off. Meanwhile, Mia is having a ball listening down below. Natalie beats on Eric a few times with the crowbar, but before she can land her death blow, David blows her only remaining arm off with the shotgun. Go ahead.
Whew. All right. Well, Natalie is pretty much the epitome of that horror trope where you're like yelling at the screen not to do something. Natalie is going to fucking do it. And going down to the cellar with Mia, 100% that. I mean, yeah, that was a great shot of her being drugged back down there, but I mean, come on with that shit, man. And I'll tell you what, though, most of the extended or the changed scenes from the NC-17 version come from this set of scenes here and the very end, I think. It starts with Mia licking that knife with her tongue. There's another shot of that from the side, but an also alternate frontal shot where it's split. It just shows it longer. And I'll touch on the rest here in just a second, but I just want to shit on Lou Taylor Pucci for just a second, who plays Eric. Look, I can't act. Maybe it's just a bad performance, but I'm sorry. The scene with he and David here are just fucking sucks. He was supposed to carry that scene, giving the explanation of what's going on. And sorry, man, that performance just wasn't it. I'll throw that out there. And holy shit, though, at the Natalie scene with her cutting her own arm off, I guess, some of the best practical effects I've seen in a long time, with Eric and David walking in, and then you see the skin stretch as it falls to the floor. Just fucking ridiculously good. Just ridiculously good. So the rest of the cutscenes here, and I'll shut up. We also have a whole additional shot of Eric entering through the door, putting down a gas can and drinking some of that sugar water. That cracked my ass up, Dustin, when you said sugar water. That's fucking great. Pointless scene, honestly, though. Natalie squeezing more black pus out of her wound. That was cut. And Mia starts actually singing "We're Gonna Get You" while Natalie is on the floor being overcome by the virus possession thing. But most of all, the cutting the arm scene is much longer with even more gory alternate footage, if you can actually believe that.
I released something evil. Exactly what I think after eating that Taco Bell. Just kidding. but I love the line delivery and how menacing it feels. Natalie, played by Elizabeth Blackmore, does a great job in the limited role she gets. According to IMDb, her character was supposed to be fleshed out a lot more, including a backstory and how she met David, but it was all cut. And I think that was probably for the better. I can't believe she falls for Mia's cries for help. I understand she's someone you care for, but after earlier and all that crazy shit, yeah, I'm avoiding her like the plague. But at least we got a cool shot of her getting dragged into the cellar and that door slamming. Props to Fede Alvarez. I love how filthy the language is and how graphic the violence is. This is kind of what I meant with Ghost of Mars. Go over the top if you're going to claim to be a bad movie or whatever. At least have fun with it. The artwork looks really cool in the Necronomicon, and low-key, that would be a really cool kind of a collectible to have. More praise to the practical effects. Natalie's arm looks disgusting, and great acting by her as she's overtaken by the demon. I'm chuckling laughing at the Mia demon begging her not to cut her arm off. No, you little bitch, don't cut it off. I thought that was funny. As a not very learned person when it comes to Evil Dead, I actually like the fact that the book tells you how you can purify yourself, and it's not some mystery you have to Google or do hours of research at the library to figure out. I like that. Eric, he's a dickhead. I understand his frustration with David, but that is his sister, and you're the one who caused all this. And Natalie shuts him up real quick, though, shooting folk multiple times with a nail gun. It's crazy how little that's utilized in horror, but it has been used in our show quite a bit recently with this and Final Destination 3. Nail guns just are kind of scary to me. David, he's an idiot. Natalie has a crowbar about to hit him, and he sticks his arm up for protection. Give me a break. The dudes are kind of idiots in this movie, in my opinion.
Dustin, didn't you bring up on one of those previous episodes that the nail gun has a safety feature that will not let you fire it like this?
Yeah, I didn't want to beat a dead horse. But yeah, I mean, you have most nail guns. Most nail guns, you have to press the top to something to release it, and then it'll fire. Like, they're not just going to. But I mean, I saw Happy Gilmore shoot his boss in the head, so maybe I'm wrong. And Nico, what the fuck are you talking about? You'd like to have a copy of the Necronomicon. Get out of here.
This guy.
You're just welcoming the devil.
He is.
I'm not going to read it or chant anything, but those the pictures were kind of cool.
Yeah, that's how they get you. This guy would join a cult. I don't really want to be in a cult, but they were nice people. They had Kool-Aid. Get the fuck out of here. No.
A24.
Anyway, cut that part, Brian. Natalie turns her attention to David and asks why he's hurting her and sobs. His defense is lowered and he comforts her. The sad scene is interrupted by Eric laughing, though, and I thought I had a dark sense of humor, but no. David takes Eric outside, and Eric says that he's not interested in being the devil's bitch. That was funny. David says that he's going to do what he has to do and douses the cabin in gasoline. He hesitates before he sets it ablaze, and Mia capitalizes. She starts singing the lullaby that their mom used to sing, and he can't do it anymore. Pussy. Lightning strikes outside, causing a fire. And now David has a new idea. He grabs a chainsaw and makes a MacGyver-like device, and then digs a hole outside. Afterwards, he goes down into the basement and hears whispers of his name and murderer. He looks around, and part of the basement is completely flooded. When he turns around, Mia glides at him and cuts his arm with the box cutter. She tosses him around the joint and then tries to drown him. Eric to the rescue, though, as he crowbars Mia in the back of the head. David injects the tranquilizer into Mia, and then Eric gives up his fight. Another one bites the dust. David plays dress-up with Mia, putting her in a red lacy dress and a plastic bag over her head, and buries her in the hole he dug. Of course, he buries everything but her head, though, giving her the chance to reanimate and plead for her life. The demon uses Mia's knowledge to pull at David's emotions, and he powers through and finally gets her completely buried. He lays on the ground, apologizing, and the flaming tree finally stops burning, making it eerie as fuck, to be honest with you. Then his dumbass digs her up, because I was ready for another fight, but he stabs her in the chest with his rigged-up electronic syringe device. He tries to revive her, but he runs out of juice before he's successful. He pulls the bag off her head, and she looks normal again. He says she's at peace now, and covers her up with the blanket. And the next set of scenes is the ending.
Well, to be honest, I'm kind of with the demon on this one when it comes to Eric, because fucking that guy. Like when the demon's fucking up Eric, and then Eric tries to shoot more nails into the demon when it's obviously not doing anything. I was thinking the same thing after probably the first nail. This motherfucker is still alive, but man. after David blows Natalie's other arm off and she crawls up to him saying her face hurts. Damn, like, again, another great example of Alvarez giving you a little humanity. It makes you feel a little bit of empathy. Very powerful tactic, I thought, in my opinion, in a lot of his movies. Even with Mia humming that baby song when David is about to burn the place down, or with her bag over her face. I mean, you're obviously like Dustin mentioned, you do it, you fucking pussy. But there's just at least a little thing inside me when I'm watching it going, fuck, that sucks. I mean, so it's conflicting, but I really like the way that he does that and he's written that. Never had to deal with a demon like this, thank God. And hopefully I never have to, although Nico and Mike making us review these demonic movies may change that one day. Who knows? I don't know. But I imagine that this is really how dealing with demonic possession is in real life. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Something coming up soon, probably. In the basement with David and Mia fighting and Eric busting in, I just thought of that meme where you have that one guy saying to Jesus, "Stop giving me your toughest battles." And Jesus responds, "You're still alive?" That's Mia, Eric. That's like, how the fuck is this guy still alive?
I literally posted that the other day, man. I was going through it. So I feel you.
But yeah, I'm not the biggest fan here of how he brings Mia back to life and the whole entire thing. Just honestly not. You guys kind of mentioned that. I don't know, remember if that was on or off air, but I agree. I'm not really a fan of that either. Some of the extended and cut scenes here, though, in this set, we finally get to see what happened to Olivia and Natalie's bodies. David soaks Olivia's body in gas and lights her up, and then takes Natalie's to the shed. There in the shed, he wraps her in plastic and chops her up into little pieces with the chainsaw. So there you go.
Starting off this set of scenes, I was very frustrated. I was like, don't you dare fall for the sweet voice, David. Like the past 5 minutes didn't just happen. Dying would be so bad right now. I just don't want to become the devil's bitch. I thought that was a great line, honestly, by Eric. The moment gets too big and David pisses down his leg again. Nitpick here, but it's kind of convenient. All this stuff is just readily available for David to MacGyver together to bring his sister back to life if everything goes to plan. David continues to be a buffoon using his arm as protection like it doesn't feel pain as well, blocking a blade. Brother, your arm feels pain too. I get it. You don't want to get hit in the chest or anything, but you got to fight back differently. This man was putting up Harlan Barnett kind of defense. Another nitpick, very convenient. Eric shows up in time to save David, even after all the carnage he's taken, and he conveniently dies after saving him. Could have went without that. They could have did something a little different. It's an emotional scene with Mia begging for her life as David buries her. Huge shout out to Jane Levy because she did actually get buried in that moment. And they did that purposefully to get a real reaction out of David. So I really, big props to both of them. David continues to be emotionally manipulated. Man, just fill in the damn grave. But I did have a heart here. I said, I do feel for David. I would feel emotionally devastated seeing my sister lay there dead after doing all this. So I get it, but it was frustrating in the moment.
All right, guys, let's get to the ending.
Go ahead,
David turns to walk away, and he hears Mia's voice say his name. He turns around to see her standing. They embrace, and she's crying, saying it was horrible, and she thanks him for not leaving her. He goes inside to get the car keys, and somber music plays as he grabs a picture of the group off the wall. Our touching moment is broken up by possessed Eric, who stabs him in the fucking neck. David stumbles towards the front door where a concerned Mia meets him. He tells her to leave and locks her outside. David grabs the shotgun and shoots the gas can, lighting the place up. Mia cries outside and finds the necklace David had given to her earlier. She grabs it, and then, just like a Slayer song, it starts raining blood. A hand springs up from the earth and grabs her arm, and then the rest of the body emerges, crawling towards her. As she fumbles the keys inside the Jeep, her antagonist breaks through the window and grabs Mia's leg, which sizzles when touched. Mia makes it out of the Jeep and crawls into a hole in the ground, but she's not in the clear just yet. Mia gets into the shed and grabs a chainsaw, which I'm delighted to say didn't just crank right up. After refueling, Mia climbs up through the floor and continues her pursuit, armed with a machete. Good Mia Kool-Aid Mans her way through the wall to the outside and hides under the Jeep with a chainsaw as intense music plays. She gets the chainsaw cranked and defeats her evil counterpart. See what it did there? Literally, she cut off her feet.
Heyo.
She's still not safe, though, as evil Mia flips the Jeep over on top of Mia and crawls towards her. Mia brutally frees herself by pulling her arm from under the Jeep, losing her hand in the process, and she shoves the chainsaw through the mouth out the back of the head of Evil Mia, splitting her in two. Evil Mia is absorbed back into the ground, and the rain stops. Mia retrieves her necklace, and as she begins her walk back into civilization, we see the Necronomicon close on the ground, and the movie ends. But after the credits, Ash himself, Bruce Campbell, says groovy and turns towards the camera in a seal of approval type scene. What'd you guys think of the end?
It was a decent ending. Just to throw in a little online debate here, though, that may be interesting for you. When the Abomination, otherwise known as Evil Mia, rises from hell to kill Mia after David blows up the cabin, killing the Deadite version of Eric, the Necronomicon states that the Abomination needs to claim 5 souls before it can rise. In the theatrical cut that we watched, only 4 characters were possessed at the time of their deaths: Eric, Olivia, Natalie, and Mia, leaving the audience wondering who the 5th soul was, as David seemingly died as himself. It's been assumed that Harold's daughter from the prologue could not have been the first out of the 5 souls, as she had died long before the main events of the film. However, the book didn't state that there was a time limit as to when people could be taken. The extended director's cut, however, restores a scene showing David burning alive with Deadite Eric in the cabin, getting possessed by a demon right before his death. In that version, which is a cop-out to me, it's indicated he was ultimately the 5th soul claimed for the Abomination to rise. In the theatrical version, the audience can just kind of assume that Harold's daughter was a soul that added up to 5. I think I like the theatrical version here better with that one. But yeah, the ending was just fine. Such a great shot at the end with Mia and that chainsaw through the demon's head, blood fucking everywhere. I loved that shot. Very reminiscent of the parking garage scene at the end of Evil Dead Rise. Additional scene during the end credits, I didn't really care for that. I mean, it's just whatever.
I know you didn't because you didn't like the first 3 movies, but for the people that love the first 3 movies, that's like that nostalgia. If Bill Murray showed up in a Ghostbusters movie, like, it means something.
The only thing cut out of this set of scenes here, there was an additional scene during the end credits where Mia's walking across the street. Then she drops with exhaustion. A car stops. An older man gets out, helps Mia. Cut. Mia on the backseat of the car where the old man wants to take her to a hospital. She opens her eyes. The end. But that was what was cut. Go ahead.
All right, this David and Mia hug is probably the most emotional one I've ever seen. This is one of the most emotional ones up until 2013, but it did get surpassed in 2016 when LeBron James and Kevin Love hugged after winning the 2016 finals.
God.
That was just a joke. It's called a joke, brother. Don't get so sensitive. Question. What caused Eric to finally turn? He's taken injuries all night, and he turns now and attacks David. That's just another instance being too convenient, in my opinion, with him and David. I've read online, that this demon's not like a zombie where you get bit and then you become possessed. It's kind of like a respiratory virus in some sorts. They can just fly between people. It just didn't work for me between them two. Again, badass shot, shooting the gas canister and igniting the whole house and Eric on fire. I really like that. This is a little fun fact, credit to IMDb. Mia finds the necklace in the skull shape, just like in the original Evil Dead. Listen, I know it'll be tough to be composed trying to crank your car up in this situation, but damn, it's just so beaten to death in horror movies. It's just frustrating at this point. There's a lot of action here to process. I just feel bad for Jane Levy, honestly. She admits it was a physically demanding role, but to my surprise, her least favorite scene was vomiting into Olivia's mouth, saying she felt bad for Jessica Lucas. She has a big heart. I give her props. Mia has to rip off her own arm to survive. God damn, this girl's been through it. Feast on this motherfucker as she shoves a chainsaw down the Deadite's throat. Hell yeah, brother. And the head lying on the ground split in half. I thought that was an amazing shot as well.
Yeah.
I thought this was a great ending. The very end, Mia victorious, but she has no arm. Her family and friends are dead. And she has to walk to find help. And that's just by chance if she finds any help. I thought it was a pretty bleak ending for the film, and I like that. I don't need a happy ending every time.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. You guys got any fun facts? I shared with you all. I have a shit ton. So if you want to knock yours out first, I'll delete the ones I have.
Many of the clips shown in the preceding trailers were either not used in the actual movie or were altered in the film, which just goes right into Dustin's not watching trailers.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the film, towards the end of the credits, you can actually hear a man talking about his experience of having opened and read the spell in the Book of the Dead. That is the exact track from the cassette recording in the original film from 1981 when the book is first found along with the cassette player.
All right. According to reports in the press, the film used 70,000 gallons of fake blood. In an interview, Fede Alvarez said they used 50,000 gallons for the final scene alone. This is compared to the 200 to 300 gallons used in the original movie. That's insane. 95% of the movie was shot in chronological order. This was done because a lot of the film takes place in a controlled environment, and the level of blood and violence gets worse and worse as the film progresses. By shooting in order, the filmmakers could throw blood on the walls and not worry it would mess up another shot where it needed to be clean. The film was banned in Ukraine for its extreme violence. The irony is not lost on me. Some of the cast had 3-hour makeup sessions and then another hour or more to get out of it. Gillian Jacobs auditioned for the role of Mia, but lost to Lily Collins. But Lily Collins wasn't in the movie. She dropped out and was replaced by Jane Levy. Diablo Cody polished and Americanized the screenplay while remaining uncredited. Fede Alvarez and Rodo Sayegues, probably didn't say that right, are not native English speakers, so their English dialogue needed some touching up in their screenplay. Back when the original film was in development in 2003, Ashton Kutcher and Marlon Wayans were considered for the role of Ash. Thank God that movie didn't get made, because I love both of those guys, but I think that makes they're too funny. Like, there's no way they could be a serious Ash the way that this movie turned out. Right. Journey Smollett auditioned for the role of Olivia. She's fine. And then the last one I've got is that director Fede Alvarez posted on an original ending on his social media as part of the film's 9th anniversary, which showed Mia being attacked in a POV shot that was a deliberate callback to the end of The Evil Dead 1981. It also revealed more from the first screenplay of the draft, where Mia was killed with gallons of her blood and guts. Sam Raimi wisely pointed out to Alvarez that after everything she's been through, she deserves to live. So he rewrote it to the actual ending, but stated that Levy let out one of her best screams in the movie on that take. And I'm done reading shit for the rest of the night. Go ahead.
All right. According to the Internet Movie Database, also known as IMDb, $17 million estimated budget and a gross worldwide of $97,542,952. I would say that's pretty damn good. Making $80 million, you can't get mad about that.
Yeah.
There you go.
We can jump over and do the old social medias now. I got the old Instagrams pulled up. Danny CNAPS commented, "Fucking finally. This is my favorite remake ever and one of my favorite horror films from the 2010s. Hands up emoji, fire flames. Hands up emoji, fire flames."
Damn.
Yeah, she likes
That's
this
a lot
one.
of fire flames.
Jesse Kraft commented, "I love this remake. It actually scared the shit out of me. No easy feat with the hands up emoji." Hell yeah. Jordan Zeger commented, "I'm just so happy this movie exists with the laughing emoji. The opening is amazing. I can't wait to hear what y'all think. Per usual, LOL." Appreciate that. Mitch RT93 commented, "Saw this one for the very first time only a couple years ago and was very pleasantly surprised. The entire opening really stuck with me. Looking forward to another great review as always, fellas," with the hand clap emoji. Salute, my man. And the last one I got is from Elbow.Tyler. "I was devastated when I found out they were remaking Evil Dead. Didn't think they would do it justice. Turns out I saw it 3 times in theaters and it's still my favorite remake ever. Can't wait to hear what your guys' take on it. Feast on this, MFer." Hell yeah, brother.
All right. I got the old ex-artist formerly known as Twitter pulled up here. Randy Smith Go Dog said, "Now, as a fan of the original 3 movies, this is a damn good remake." Or sequel. I agree. Either way you want to consider it. Some asshole named Nico commented a GIF that says, "We're going to get you," and it's Mia in the cellar. Oh, that was him. That was our friend Nico. Never mind, not an asshole. Sean the Glee Man, Sean Irwin said, "I really enjoyed this version. Don't know why it gets the hate it does." I'm unfamiliar with your game, Sean. I don't know what kind of hate you're talking about. I see mostly positive comments. But I agree. It's enjoyable. Kevin Scanlon said, "I never liked the original. This one is significantly better to me." Yeah, that's fair. And then Millhouse 14108, that guy, said, "This movie did its job for me. It made me uncomfortable. Mia licking the razor blade, Natalie cutting off her arm, Phoenix being burned alive, and the Deadite performing fellatio on a chainsaw. God, he's good for one of those funny ass phrases every comment. All made me uneasy. Let's not forget the tree scene either. Puking emojis. 7 out of 10. Love the show, fellas. Appreciate you, brother.
All right, to the Book of Faces. Dex Cole, amazing movie. Only problem I had is when the trailer dropped, you saw everything. So no real surprises going into the theater, but an entry in the franchise worthy of the Evil Dead name. I will counter that, Dex Cole, by saying that I heard that most of the stuff in the trailer wasn't in the movie and was cut or altered. So I guess I need to go rewatch the trailer. Top fan on Facebook, Kevin Potoff. This was, in my opinion, a pretty good remake. I wish they would have continued the story. Some brutal stuff with the demon possession. 8 out of 10 for me. Kevin Potoff, I would say that Evil Dead Rise kind of does continue the story. And Anita Russell, I like this movie, but find it hard to believe a school teacher could read ancient Sumerian text. Anita Russell, you have not seen Ghostbusters? Still, 7 out of 10. Good movie.
That's funny. All right, let's jump into our favorite kill, least favorite kill, and the rating. I'll go first this week. Oh, man. Let me just knock my least favorite kill out. Eric. Definitely Eric. His just confused me. Like, so much was going on with him, and he was just frustrating throughout. Favorite kill. I'm torn, fellas. I don't know if I want to go with the opening or the chainsaw, the first or the last, you know. They're both really good. The opening scene kicks a lot of ass, but the ending, getting a chainsaw shoved down your throat, splitting your head in half, really good kill too. But if I'm forced to choose, which I know I am, I'm going to go with the opening scene just because I think it's really good. I like the swerve job it does. You know, your dad lighting your kid on fire. That's some tough stuff.
Yeah.
I really enjoy this movie. You know, I did my analysis throughout this. I kind of listed my qualms mostly with Eric, the convenience of him showing up, not revealing about the witchcraft a little quicker, and, you know, MacGyvering stuff out of nowhere. But this movie is just fun. It's a good time. It's nothing to take too seriously. I don't think, like, I didn't really have any issues with the acting. Even with Eric, I thought he played his character well. The blood didn't bother me either. And maybe I just need to rewatch it again and look for the blood you were talking about, Dust. There's so much blood, I might have just missed it. But I have a good time with this movie. I gave it an 8.5. A little bit over Evil Dead Rise.
Nico having a good time with demonic text and demonic possession. Shocker.
Yeah.
Good time.
I'm gonna pray for him.
Just something, sit back. Love it. Pray for your prayers up.
Can't wait to pick long legs.
I got my long legs on. Cuckoo, cuckoo. All right. I'll go ahead and knock mine out. Favorite kill was Evil Mia, Deadite Mia, whatever you want to call her. Chainsaw down the gullet and then get split in half. Fucking incredible. Loved it. Here's the take for you, Nico. My least favorite kill is the girl in the open because it didn't, like, who the fuck were those people? They weren't involved in this story at all. Like, at least in Evil Dead Rise, it all ties together. Like, we see what's going on in the open. Like, we see those characters. Who the fuck were these people? Anyway. That's
fair.
As far as my final, but the kill itself was, I agree with what you said about it. It's just, I don't know. I had problems with the scene even existing. As far as my final thoughts, probably my favorite Evil Dead movie. Like I said, it gets better with every watch, which I didn't think was possible because I liked it and I didn't think I'd like it anymore, but I was wrong. The tension and the brutality is great. The characters have good enough depth to them to make me actually care about them. If someone asked me to show them one Evil Dead movie to represent the entire franchise, I'd probably go with this one. I do have my issues with it, like how inconsistent the rules are for killing the possessed and why the fuck Mia just got to resurrect completely normal. But I gave it an 8.25.
Yeah, my favorite kill, actually, Natalie having her hand sawed off and then her other arm blown off with a shotgun and nail gunned. I don't know, best kill, I'd say. I don't know if that's my favorite kill to watch, but it was pretty good. Least favorite kill, Grandpa the dog. That was fucking crazy. Can't believe that. I liked it, quick and easy. I gave Rise an 8.75. I'm kind of the opposite with Dustin. I think that Rise is still my favorite, but this is right there. I'm going to give this one an 8.5. I do like that one a little bit better.
Okay, so that gives us a composite score of 8.4166666667.
Whoa.
And Internet Movie Database. I'm glad you called it that, Nico. That's funny. IMDb has this movie at a 6.5. Rotten Tomatoes, 63%. So we're a little higher than both of those outlets, but fuck them. We're right.
Real quick, Brian, 2 years ago, if I were to ask you what you'd rate this movie, what do you think it would be? 2 years ago.
From not having watched it since the theater, I mean, I would say a 4.5 maybe.
Oof. The power of a rewatch. I'm the same way with The Ring. Like, I remember when we first made the account, I remember tweeting about not liking The Ring. After we did the review, man, I really like The Ring. I like it more with each watch. So if there's a movie that you think sucks, give it another chance, because
there you go.
As time goes on, you do like things more. I'm going to shout out our blood donors, Dustin, then you can announce your pick for next week. Really appreciate y'all. Legendary blood donor Dana Tucker 3 times. Good night. She got money to burn. Appreciate you, Dana. Camper Level reoccurring Nina, Michelle Mirza, the Horror Movie Crew podcast, Alex Seligson, Michael Evans, and Steve Schmidt, the winner of our giveaway on the old X. My man got that shit right in 7 minutes. That boy was not playing around. Camp Counselor reoccurring Edwin Hernandez Gunn, Joe Swinford, Shan, Adrian Aiello, Brian Samick, Andrew Ferguson, Matt Strickland, Brooke Maley, Thorne David Phillips, Heather Superdoc, Jennifer Davis from the Too Close to Home Pod, Dana Tucker, Cole McAlexander, and Max K. We really appreciate y'all. It means a lot. You take a big burden off us.
Huge.
You help us pay for the show. It helps out a lot. Dustin, what's your pick for next week when we close out Free Month?
You know, it's funny when you said announce my pick, I panicked because I couldn't remember what my pick was. But my pick is a movie.
Speaking of demonic movies.
Yeah, speaking of, but this was different. One of the perks of having Regal Unlimited is that, you know, I get to go see movies, even if I'm not terribly interested or knowledgeable about them. I just go see them. Last year I did that, and I was pleasantly surprised by this movie called Nefarious. It's got Sean Patrick Flannery in it, and he fucking killed it. One of the most amazing acting jobs, singular performances I've ever seen. I'm not joking when I say that. And so I hyped this movie up so much and told you guys to watch it, and I think we all enjoy it. It's going to be a tough movie to take notes on, but I'm looking forward to it. Nefarious. It's streaming on The Cock, on Prime, and Tubi, I believe, if you want to watch it beforehand.
Definitely jumping on The Cock to watch it.
Hell yeah.
Whoa. Yeah, absolutely.
Hell yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Appreciate y'all listening. Y'all have a good one. We'll be back next week with Nefarious.
Just want to remind everybody,